2 items in this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Appletapple, and today we're going to do something very exciting. I mentioned in an earlier video that I'm currently testing Korean skincare routine, and when I first started I noticed that I was lacking some cotton pads. I also bought cotton pads in another video, but I won't use them for makeup because I only bought them to get rid of nail polish and I don't want to create any waste while moving makeup or using toner or something. So I thought I would make some reusable cotton pads myself. Also a headband to keep my hair in place. I do have some kind of thing to keep my hair out of place, but it seems kind of bendy and I fear that it will break because those things usually tend to break, but I never had this specific one that I'm blending in. But all the others, which is just one strand of plastic, let's say, would always break because I just have too much hair to keep back, or it would just not keep my hair back. So I thought I'd craft a headband just in case it'll break, and I think it just feels better on your head. We'll just get started right away. Let's go! So for the cotton pads, you can use any type of fabrics. I have some squares left over that are supposed to be for face masks, but I'm tired of sewing these. There is an easier way, so I'm using it for the cotton pads, and I'm using leftover t-shirt from all the t-shirts I cropped. Then I recommend to use some zigzag scissors. The square that I used was roughly 16 times 16 centimeters, which is around 6.5 inches if the measuring tape that I have is correct. And the first thing I did was to cut it into 4 pieces. Well, I folded it before, but yeah, what I did was to use the scissors, the scissor sisters. What? So I used the zigzag scissors, but I recommend using a regular one because you have to do that in the end anyway, so might as well just skip the step where you make everything more difficult. Next step is to find something to put inside of the reusable cotton pads, and I used the bottom part of an old t-shirt that I cropped in another video. Link is in the description box if you're interested. There is a lot of inspiration there too. Okay. So my plan here now is that this is one cotton pad, and then the other 2 I chose to use a different colored fabric to get 3 cotton pads in the end. Again, I recommend not using zigzag scissors. I recommend using a thread that is the same color as your fabric, but since the other side was white, I decided to use white all over, and this cotton pad in particular turned out ugly. But I'm sure it's very useful, so I don't mind as much. But yeah, I'm using a zigzag stitch, which prevents fabric from fringing, so that's why I'm using it. And usually it looks good when you use a zigzag stitch for a top stitch, but it takes a lot of practice until you can master the zigzag stitch, because I'm still learning. Oh, another tip, just turn it upside down, because I think the green fabric is not 100% cotton, so it was a bit sliding around. But if you have the 100% cotton fabric on top and the slidier fabric on the bottom, it makes it easier to handle. Yeah, so that's what I did, and this piece is so much better than the other one. For the headband, you need elastic band and fabric I chose this old leggings because it has a hole in the back which is not mendable, and I thought it would look good as a headband. That's why I chose it, and I used exactly one leg of this pair of leggings. Next, you want to measure your head with the elastic band. That's how I did it. Make sure it's not too tight and still comfortable, but not too loose. My elastic band is 57 centimeters long. That's how I measured the fabric that I would need, but I think it would be easier to just measure your head and then add 2 centimeters for seam allowance. Since the legs of trousers or leggings or whatever are not entirely straight, the next step is to straighten it out, and I left the seam that was there before to make it less slippy. Now that the seam is in place, it is safe to cut off the extra fabric. I decided to add a second seam just to secure everything in place and make sure it will not rip at some point. Now it's time to flip it on the right side again and loop the elastic into the tube and then sew the elastic together, and I made sure to do that as often as possible to secure that as well. Now you take the right sides of the fabric, use the seam as a guide, and then sew it into place. Make sure to only sew the ends together, and this part is very tricky because there is not that much space and you have to kind of pull the fabric and make sure you don't get anything else. That's how far you can get, and the rest is sewn together by hand. Or if you want to be lazy, you can choose a darker thread and sew over it, and no one can tell because that's the part that is on your neck, right? Another way how to avoid sewing it by hand is taking a rectangle piece, fold it together, and then sew it. Doesn't even matter which side you sew together. After you've sewn it together, you twist the tube until the seam is in the middle of the back. Then take your headband and the rectangle and knot the rectangle around the headband so that you can sew the ends together, but make sure to tie the knot so you can hide the seams from the ends of the rectangle. Here's the end result. I think it looks kind of funny, but it keeps my hair out of the way. Maybe I'll get rid of the knot and then I'll have an ordinary headband. We'll see what I'll do with it. I think it's too loose, so I either have to make it tighter because it isn't as wide anymore as it was in your hands. Wait. So how does it look without the knot? That's how it looks without the knot. Yeah, I might just undo the last step. Thank you for watching today's video. See you next week. Wait, I hope I sparked inspiration in you, and if you tried one of these products, please let me know down below in the comments. And if you have anything else that you want me to try to upcycle, for example, like we did in this video, this was the leggings, those were shirts partly. Let me know and I'll try to do it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I also have Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch if you want to keep up with that as well. And next week's video will be a bit different again. It's just that I'm interested in so many different things, so stay tuned for that and see you next week. Bye!